Welcome back to Vintage-Farmhouse DIY, your cozy corner for real-life, slow-paced design you can actually create at home. In today's episode, we're embracing the timeless beauty of green and cream tones, a palette that whispers warmth, comfort, and calm rustic charm. These aren't just DIYs. They're lived-in stories made by hand, with imperfect pieces that feel entirely your own. We'll guide you through 13 soulful decor ideas, each styled with love using repurposed treasures, vintage layers, and thoughtful textures. Whether you're just getting started or looking to refresh your space, this journey is for anyone who wants their home to feel honest, warm, and deeply personal. If you find inspiration here today, don't forget to subscribe to Vintage-Farmhouse DIY. Your support keeps this cozy little channel going and helps us bring even more ideas to life, one handmade detail at a time. There's something deeply comforting about the way cream and olive come together. Like old friends who know when to speak and when to simply be. This living room isn't grand. It doesn't sparkle with newness. But it breathes. The walls, brushed in gentle cream, catch the changing light like parchment. They hold quiet stories. Of dinners with mismatched plates, of laughter that echoes off weathered wood. Against them, the olive green speaks softly, not as a statement, but as a grounding presence. Each piece in the room has history. The armchair was once in someone's attic. The table was found at a flea market, its legs uneven until sanded and steadied. Nothing here is showroom perfect. And that's the charm. It's not about matching sets. It's about belonging. Layered rugs, a chipped vase filled with eucalyptus, a throw blanket someone once knitted, it all feels collected, not styled. This blend of vintage and farmhouse doesn't just decorate a space, it tells you. This is lived in, loved, and always evolving. If you're building a room like this, don't start with what's trendy. Start with what feels like home. Let cream and olive be your backdrop. Let the rest follow with intention. It stood forgotten once. In a garage maybe, or at the back of a dusty store, its drawers swollen with age. But now, this old cabinet has a new rhythm. Painted in soft green, its edges gently worn by time and fingertips, it anchors the room without trying. There's grace in second chances. The wood still breathes, its grain telling quiet stories beneath the paint. On its top, nothing screams for attention. Just a vase with dry lavender, a candle burned halfway, and a book with pages that no longer lie flat. These aren't props. They're companions. Decor like this doesn't arrive all at once. It unfolds slowly, like memories forming. You find one item on a walk, another passed down, and suddenly, the cabinet holds more than objects. It holds a rhythm that feels like your own. Green and natural wood tones create balance here. Not too earthy, not too delicate. Just enough to feel grounded, without losing lightness. When you style a space like this, you're not arranging things. You're arranging feelings. And sometimes, the most ordinary furniture, repainted, reused, remembered, becomes the soul of the room. comfort doesn't need explanation. You feel it before you see it. In the way fabric falls, in the weight of a blanket that remembers being handmade. This corner isn't a styled moment. It's a whisper of warmth. Layered textiles bring more than texture. They hold stories, stitched in quiet rooms, mended beside old radios, folded by hands that moved with care. Each fabric carries a softness not just in feel, but in presence. There's no formula here. Just instinct. A linen drape left casually over a chair, a pillow whose embroidery has faded from sunlight, a throw blanket with a snag from the cat. These aren't flaws. They're footprints. The charm of vintage textiles lies in how they don't match perfectly, but they speak fluently. Cream tones calm the space, while time-worn patterns add the quiet drama of memory. Together, they form a harmony that feels lived in, like music that's been playing in the background long before you entered the room. To build a space like this, don't rush. Let it grow like a wardrobe of favorite garments. Let the edges fray. Let the stories stay. There's something quietly defiant about a shelf that doesn't come from a store. A plank of old wood, uneven at the edges, painted in a thoughtful green. Built not just to hold things, but to hold meaning. This shelf isn't shouting. It's whispering, of afternoons spent sanding corners smooth, of fingers stained with paint, of standing back and realizing that yes, you made this. The green is not too bold. It rests somewhere between moss and sage, grounded and soft, like the forest floor after rain. And then the styling begins. Not with rules, but with rhythm. A found feather, a candle from a market trip, your favorite book with its spine fading. These small treasures become part of a landscape. The shelf becomes a stage not for perfection, but for personality. There's no need to curate every inch. Let the shelf shift with the seasons. Let it carry a moment. When your home holds pieces that your hands shaped, the space remembers you. Not just your style, but your time, your patience, your intention. And really, that's the magic of DIY. You're not just building shelves. You're building stories. Arrangements don't follow florists' rules. They bloom in rhythm with intuition, with memory, with feeling. A bundle of wildflowers, gathered on a morning walk. A few stems of dried lavender you couldn't part with. A sprig of rosemary just because. Set in a rustic vase, chipped, glazed, or unpolished, these blooms don't just decorate. They anchor. They breathe life into corners otherwise forgotten. They remind you of the outside world, even on days when you don't step past the porch. There's beauty in the way cream tones soften a bouquet, in the way olive greens and faded petals feel like time slowed down. The vase itself might have history. A piece from your grandmother, a find from a flea market, or a creation from your own hands. It doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, it's better if it isn't. When you place flowers this way, you aren't making arrangements. You're making pauses. You're making softness. You're making a space that listens. Let your florals be imperfect. Let them lean, fade, shed. Let them belong not to a trend, but to your everyday life.
A frame holds more than an image. It holds a moment, a whisper, a trace of someone's hand long before yours. And when those frames are reclaimed, rescued from markets, salvaged from attics, they bring with them their own quiet stories. There's no grid to this wall, no symmetry, just a gentle scattering of frames, each with a history, each chosen with care. One still holds a speck of old paint on its corner. Another, worn thin from where someone once hung it, again and again. Together, they become more than a gallery. They become a reflection of a life lived thoughtfully. Inside the frames, you'll find fragments. A pressed fern from last spring, your grandmother's recipe card, a sketch your child made with clumsy joy. These aren't decorations. They're memories made visible. Cream tones soothe the eye. Green accents add a touch of grounded elegance. But it's the imperfection of each piece, the cracks, the scratches, the uneven edges, that makes it all feel alive. Creating a wall like this isn't about filling space. It's about honoring it. It invites you to slow down, to notice, to remember. The smallest spaces that offer the deepest calm. A reading nook, barely the width of an arm's stretch, can become a place of stillness, of pause, of return. Here, the cream tones are not just decorative. They're emotional. They soften the lines of the room. They hush the noise of the day. The wooden bench beneath the window carries its own quiet dignity. Its grain catching the light like aged skin, like something that's lived. You don't decorate a corner like this with trends. You fill it with moments. A pillow found on a weekend trip, a blanket from someone who once held you, a book you never quite finished but always returned to. Everything in this space whispers, rest here a while. The light shifts gently across the walls. A shadow of a leaf moves as the wind stirs. The world outside is not ignored. It's simply paused. This nook wasn't made overnight. It grew. With every item added not for style, but for soul. And in doing so, it becomes not just a place to sit, but a place to be. Sunlight isn't meant to flood a room. It's meant to flicker, to dance quietly along the wall, to remind us that stillness has texture too. This display of candles, each perched on its own pedestal, no two alike, is more than decor. It's rhythm. It's a soft chorus of heightened flame, arranged not by rule, but by feel. A tall wooden candlestick leans slightly, a brass holder tarnished with age. A short squat jar once held jam but now carries fire.
There's something comforting in their unevenness. The way they burn at different speeds, casting shadows that never stay still. Some wax drips freely down the sides, unapologetically messy. Some flames lean toward each other, as if whispering secrets. When styled together, these layered heights create a visual hum, like a gentle melody on repeat. It's not about grandeur. It's about glow. It's about how a simple flame can pull the edges of a room closer, until everything feels wrapped in gold. And when you light them, especially in silence, you don't just illuminate space. You illuminate feeling. Underneath every moment at home is a surface that holds you. And sometimes, that surface tells a layered story. Rug layering isn't about fashion. It's about foundation. It's the soft landing beneath your steps, the warmth between your feet and the floor. It's a patchwork of memory. A rug passed down, another found by chance, a third one chosen just because it felt right. In this room, green whispers from the threads of a faded floral, while cream anchors the space like sand beneath moss. Worn textures speak of days lived. A spill here, a nap there, the sound of a cup setting down gently on wood. The furniture doesn't compete. It participates. A natural wood chair leans gently into the rug's lines. A low table shows the patina of years. And all around, the room breathes calmly, unforced. When you layer rugs like this, you layer time. You add softness not just underfoot, but into the air. The home feels slower, warmer, a little more human. Because in a world of flatness, texture tells the truth. A window once opened to the world. Now, it opens inward, to memory, to stillness, to charm without cost. This frame, salvaged from a forgotten cottage or a thrift store corner, still carries the soul of what it used to be. You can see it in the wood, aged like paper left out in the sun, cracked, yet strong. You can feel it in the way it hangs. Humble, intentional, familiar. Painted in soft cream, it doesn't ask for attention, it offers presence. Sometimes there's glass. Sometimes not. Sometimes it holds notes clipped gently with string. Other times, a string of fairy lights wraps around it like laughter from an old story. Decor doesn't fill space. It invites reflection. It reminds you that beauty doesn't have to be new. It just has to be noticed. To hang a window frame on your wall is to say, I value the past, but I live fully in now. I let the old become something again. Not hidden, but held. Not forgotten, but reimagined. And in that reimagining, the home breathes with more meaning than any store-bought frame could ever bring. table didn't begin beautiful. It began as pieces. Wood left behind. Legs mismatched. A surface scratched by time. But there was potential in its weight, in the way it held still, waiting to be reimagined. And so the brush came, not to cover, but to soften. Olive green, gentle, lived in, settled onto the wood like a whisper. The strokes weren't perfect. They skipped. They overlapped. But somehow that made it truer. You could feel the hand behind the finish. Now it sits at the center of everything. Morning tea, unread books, small moments left behind in bowls and plates. It doesn't command attention, but it holds space. What makes it beautiful isn't symmetry. It's story. That it was made, not bought. That it was chosen, not copied. You don't need a perfect plan to create furniture like this. You just need time, a bit of paint, and the belief that even something forgotten can become the heart of the room. Everything in a home has to be purchased. Sometimes, the woods offer more than just scenery. They offer form, function, and a reminder that beauty lives in the simplest lines. These hooks began as fallen branches. Crooked, cracked, weathered. Nothing symmetrical. Nothing straight. But held in your hands, they felt like possibility. After a gentle sanding and a coat of soft white paint, they transformed. Not to disguise their past, but to honor it. Mounted on a wooden plank or directly into the wall, they now serve. Holding scarves, baskets, garden hats. Their shapes are wild, untouched by factory molds. Each one unique, like fingers reaching out to carry what you bring home. There's a quiet joy in creating with nature, where design doesn't mean erasing, but embracing, where the irregular becomes the charm. This project doesn't ask for perfection, just presence, just a walk in the woods, just the choice to see hooks not in metal, but in trees. And suddenly, your wall tells a different story. One that begins outside and lives gently inside. In a world that rushes forward, a jar reminds you to reuse, to pause, to grow something small with care. These jars once held jam, buttons, maybe just dust. But now they cradle life. Tiny roots drinking slow morning light from windows. Painted or clear, wrapped with twine or left bare. Each one becomes a vessel not only for plants, but for mindfulness. There's no need for polished pots. The charm is in the irregular. In how the green of basil presses against scratched glass. In how pot hose trails over the edge like it's trying to tell you something soft. Placed on shelves, sills, or quiet corners, these jars bring nature back inside. Not with grandeur, but with honesty. They don't bloom in perfect rows. They don't shout. But they grow. Slowly. Reliably. Just like the home around them. Making a planter from a jar isn't just about sustainability. It's about seeing beauty where others see waste. About letting your hands shape something that lives. And letting that life in turn shape your space.